Hey guys, how are you feeling? Yeah, I'm feeling a lot of stuff. I'm also kind of numb, which is a little confusing. um, but I just wanted to ask how you were doing because I think a lot of us don't get asked a lot, or if we do, it's sort of a formality. And I know a lot of us have been feeling really lonely this past year. And throughout our lives, And I just wanted you to know that there is someone out there who cares and who does want to know. Even if you don't comment below or private message me, it's okay. I just want you to know that I care and someone cares and someone is connected with you in here. I know loneliness has been a really hard part about life in general, and especially during this pandemic. And even if we feel physically alone or even just alone on the inside, you're not alone. I care in here. And my heart and my soul, all of ours are connected. We all feel the same things. Even if it's at different times, we all feel those things. We've all been there. And you're not alone. And I also think it's an important thing to not only ask other people and mean it, which can be hard during the pandemic because if we don't have a lot of thinking power or feeling power, giving that time to someone can be harder than usual. And I understand that. But I think it's also important to ask ourselves too, because I think for a lot of us, we might be so distracted with everything that's going on, life in general, pandemic life in general, and all the little things that come with it, that we might not really truly understand the reality of our own situation in here. And I get wanting to shove that away. I get not wanting to think about it or investigate it like we talk about on this channel. And I think, personally for me, that's okay sometimes. I've definitely done that throughout this pandemic, I've definitely thought to myself, I do not have the time or the mental or emotional capacity right now to handle that. But I've tried to sort of acknowledge how I'm feeling in reaction to it, and to actively set it aside for a future time where I feel like I, can address those things when I feel like I'm able to. Because life and the pandemic expect so much from us, and they demand so much from us, everything about us. And I think especially when stakes are super, super high, especially during this pandemic, our threshold to handle negative stuff or even exciting stuff that's happy is, at least for me, I don't know about you, but it's just been so much smaller. And we tend to shove stuff down. And I think a lot of times when that happens, then it festers and it pokes at us and it knocks on the door and it's a constant shove, right? So not only did I want you to know that someone cares, I care, and I'm sure other people in your life care as well, even if it doesn't feel that way. I've been there too. But to stop, ask others, and also ask ourselves how we're feeling, literally, not how we think we should be feeling, but how are we feeling, and dropping that pressure about it. I tend to do that so much. I don't know if you guys do that too, but I'm so focused, especially during this pandemic, on being balanced, living as balanced as possible. That sometimes if I'm not feeling that way, if I'm feeling stressed or anxious or panicked or worried or irritable or whatever it is, that sort of pressure shoulding swoops in to correct in a very fast, efficient way, because I have things to do, or I have a life that I want to live that doesn't involve those things. And I think because that tends to be my default, I'm a bit of a perfectionist. That's been something I've had to work on this pandemic, is existing in a balanced way that does not involve using pressure as a negative coping skill to counteract any off-kilterness I might be feeling. And that's been really hard. We'll talk about that in a future segment for sure. Trusting, not using pressure to find balance and peace and happiness, and to also be okay with the fact that sometimes we don't feel that great. You know, I know that I set this channel up at the beginning of the pandemic because I really wanted to share with all of you my personal experience in dealing with the things that I knew would come up during the pandemic or already had been. And I wanted to help us all prevent those things from happening, but also to walk through those things in an easier, more efficient way that worked for you when those things came up. Because everything that we've probably been feeling is normal. And especially during a pandemic when the stakes are high, you know, and there's a lot of uncertainty and loss of control, and fear and loss, and feeling caged and all that stuff. Of course, we're going to react in a certain way that's survival related. And sometimes those things can feel out of control, you know, and they can grow. And one thing that I tried to remember throughout this pandemic is that emotions are information. They're not facts. They're reflections of triggers in our outside environment or internal environment that can sort of highlight for us the reality of the situation or our perception of a situation. And I think doing that prior to the pandemic, especially during the pandemic, helped me to sort of see through or see around those emotions and not buy into them, but rather in a more rational, calm, balanced way, look at the information that those emotions were giving me and then making decisions moving forward as well. So I think for me, throughout this pandemic and right now, how I'm feeling is just a little numb, but overall pretty balanced, considering, which I know has been such a blessing. But it's been a very deadened balance. So I'm still trying to process that. I'm still trying to process everything that I felt and everything that I'm still feeling. And try and increase my self-compassion by asking myself how I'm feeling. How not how do I think I should be feeling, but how am I feeling and how am I doing? And what do I want to do about that? What do I want to do with that in a way that works for me? And if you haven't asked yourself that lately, or someone else, that might be something that that you want to do. And you know, we all have the power to change, to make change, and to make the world a better place. As cheesy as that sounds, I get it. But you know, I think asking ourselves and each other those questions can help make some positive change. And lastly, if you are feeling some extreme emotions, reaching out to a mental health care professional or a healthcare professional, you know, anything that you're experiencing in an extreme way, it might be a good idea for you to self-advocate. I've had to do that a lot throughout my life, and reach out to someone who is a professional for guidance and assistance and help and clarity, because you deserve it. We all deserve to feel great, and you deserve to feel great. And we also deserve to just feel how we feel, as long as it's a safe feeling and a safe experience. So just keep that in mind too. So anyway, that's it. I'm gonna keep getting ready because I haven't done my hair yet, obviously. But again, I just wanted to stop and take a pause and ask you guys how you're doing. And I hope it's good. I hope it's content and fulfillment. And if it's not, I know you're headed there. And I'm sending you that. I'm sending you love and warmth and happiness and peace. You have the grace to walk through this, guys. So, mwah! I will see you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for helping me to not feel so lonely throughout this experience. I'll talk to you guys next week. Mwah! Bye!